Hello photographers, welcome to week 8 of Quarantine Art Photography Edition. Thank you so much for your submissions from last week. It was really cool to see you start to dig into some of those editing tools that we have available to you. Hopefully some of you use that Lightroom app. I've just started to dig into it and I love it. It's so good. You can shoot RAW with the Lightroom app for free, and there's lots of editing tools in that allow you to work with some really kind of advanced features from your phone. So it's way beyond just click and shoot with your phone these days, which is awesome to see. Thank you so much for those of you who showed up to photo review on Friday too. If you haven't had a chance to kind of pop into that, it's a really casual way to kind of like review the photos from the last week and kind of talk about photography and just kind of nerd out a little bit. Take a look for that. We're going to be trying to keep that a regular thing on Friday afternoon. We'll post that usually around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you haven't checked it out, check that out this week. And thank you so much for those of you who I've really been noticing that you've taken me up on the challenge of like commenting and sharing in that shared space. We don't get to do that enough because we're not in class together. So to be able to like take a look at the photos in that shared album once you submit them, take a look at others and share and comment and like them, that really goes a long way to keep that community going in our photography class, because you guys have been killing it. I gotta say, like it really week after week you've got some really interesting ways of interpreting these challenges given our restrictions, so that's been amazing to see. Let's take a look what's going up for week 8 on Quarantine Art. All right, so the hashtags that we're going to be throwing at you this week are recreation, which is like hot right now. It's a thing. I'm going to explain what that means. Splash, which we've done a little bit because we've done some shutter speed, and remember we popped some water balloons right before we left in March break when we got that warm day and things like that. So we're going to be looking at some high speed shutter and water and splash and that kind of thing, and how you can interpret that, as well as golden hour. It is beautiful out right now. We're going to have some like a hot kind of like summery week next week. We're getting longer hours. We're getting that sweet spot, that golden hour where the color temperature of the light changes in the evening time, and want you to see if you can capitalize that with golden hour. So let's dig into it. So as always, remember I give you 3 challenges for the week. Try to attempt those 3 challenges each week. All right, so try to go through splash, figure something out for golden hour, and the recreation if you can. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. The flow you should be used to at this point. The Google form at the beginning of the week, which has the lesson and the reflection from last week, and the turn-in at the end of the week. I got some feedback from you who some of you wanted to see the video that you're watching right now, not just in the Google form, because sometimes you want to go back to it and whatnot. Know that this lives on my YouTube channel, and this playlist is linked in the classroom info. All right, so if you ever want to go back to this video or any video after you've hit submit on the Google form, know that you can always do that. Okay, so I've linked it in the info for the class. You'll see at the banner at the top, there's a link to the playlist, and that shows every single week. All right, so for those of you who are requesting that, hopefully that helps you out on that. Okay, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, you want to be shooting and getting kind of looking for really, especially with things like golden hour and splash, when you're probably going to be shooting outside, because splash is often like high speed, so you need more light, and golden hour, well, you have to be outside because you're taking advantage of that outside light. You really want to be looking at the weather for the week. You're like, ooh, that's going to be the day that I want to be heading outside to get that golden hour. Like today, if I were shooting today would be a good day because it's Saturday that I'm recording this, and it's gorgeous, and the light is perfect, and golden hour is going to be sweet. Okay, so you want to plan ahead a little bit on that. I know some of you get like bogged down in science and math and all that kind of stuff, and I get it, totally get it. With some of these like time-sensitive photo challenges, you might want to take a look at the weather and kind of like block that in, so you're not like hitting next weekend and it's raining. You're like, I don't have a golden hour. Okay, so just a tip for that. So let's dig into it. Recreation. This is the thing. It's like it's blowing up a little bit on Instagram, especially, is people recreating classic photos using like the limited means they have in their house at the time. And it's a meme, like it's happening. And there are lots of examples out there, and a bunch of them are linked in here. So you're going to take a classic painting, try to find, often they are ones with models, but they don't have to be ones with models. They could be like a Salvador Dali painting with a melting clock, and you figure out a way to do it and whatnot. So they don't have to have a person in it, although a lot of the examples do have a person in it, like the one on screen here with Frida Kahlo's painting with the birds, and then this woman's photo with these kind of green like cascade laundry soaps and things like that to kind of replicate that, right? You know, a lot of people use like things from Quarantine. So like using toilet paper here. My face is blocking this one here, but this like old Dutch decorative collar, whatnot. It's been recreated with like stringing a bunch of toilet paper rolls, things like that. Little details like this make all the difference. So like this photography, you know, did like a pop-up cardboard box globe to replicate the original in the painting. There's a great link to My Modern Met, which is a great art and photography website that has a bunch of them there. And here's some more examples. So here's Christina's World, okay, this famous Andrew Wyeth painting, and then recreated in the backyard there with this similar kind of pale pink dress and things like that. And here, there's this, I think it's actually German, hence the Tusen Gunsten Quaranteen or something, I don't know, whatever it is. But that is really good. It's like huge. It's got like almost 300,000 followers, and they're doing just this, recreating famous paintings and reposting and things like that. So check out that Instagram page too. So in terms of the recreation, there's a few steps involved, right? You're only aiming for one photo, but you got a bit of planning to do, right? So like finding some inspiration, favorite or famous works of art, and there's lots of examples built into this very slideshow where you can use that. Dig around the net for it, use those links that we've shared in the slideshow. How are you going to build your costume and the main elements that you can recreate? And that's thinking about like the Dutch collar with the toilet paper rolls and things like that. Is it serious or is it funny? They're often quite humorous, so you want to think about that. Can you incorporate the quarantine elements like using toilet paper, that kind of thing? And it's not about like getting a perfect recreation. It's about a little bit like using what you have in your space in front of you. So you're using like cereal boxes and toilet paper and things like that you have around the house. And then the lighting is especially important. It's photography. Lighting is always important. How do you get that kind of background? You pay attention to the painting, what's happening in the background and the lighting, and then have fun with it. Now, in terms of splash, pardon me, I've shown some examples. How you interpret that, as always, is always open to interpretation. We've done shutter speed stuff, as I said before. You might want to use fast shutter speed for that. If you're using your phone, try the app like Lightroom that we introduced last week that has manual controls. And then golden hour, the glorious weather we're having outside. Nothing is sweeter than getting that perfect golden hour photo, whether it's golden hour portraits, landscape, dog pics. Some of you said you would appreciate having more like portrait of my pet. That was some of the feedback. Well, do it at golden hour. That's perfect. Okay. What are you inspired by in your hood? Do you like doing macro shots of flowers? This is a perfect opportunity to do whatever you want, as long as it's a golden hour. All right, so here's some examples for splash. This is like an in-studio shot for those of you who really like doing that studio shot. I had some kind of like a mixed review on the feedback. Some people were like, enough of this studio shots. I want to get outside and shoot. Well, you totally can get outside and shoot. You know, try to take some shots, skipping rocks at the pond and see if you can get that kind of high-speed shutter, or the hair flip or something like that outside. But those of you who are digging the studio shots, there's lots of opportunity for like dropping things in wine glasses or in the water and using light and things like that too. This is very similar to that popping the water balloon thing that we saw, and I've given you a tutorial right here, the exploding water balloon tutorial, and then splash photography to that technique if you want to go into that route. And this one has, a lot of them have flashes, like speed lights synced to the camera, which we would be able to do if we were in studio, but this one's without, so that's kind of interesting too. So there's some possibilities. And then golden hour is that perfect kind of time of day with a couple links here. They're including a golden hour calculator, which is good, so you can put the time of the year and the date and your location, and it'll tell you like this is when you need to be out for golden hour, which is quite useful. Okay, as always, you want to share your work and then comment and like and other people's work in the Google Photos Shared album, and that's about it. Okay, the same challenge applies. So good luck. Hope you have fun with these kooky and challenging challenges for this week. Have a great week. I'll see you at the end of the week, hopefully, for photo review.